In Lesson 9, you wrote a first draft mission statement. It's something you're likely to want to go back and revise from time to time. But the mission statement isn't worth much unless you put it into practice. What you need is a plan of application. Your application plan needs to have 2 sections. One section will give you the chance to describe the ways that you're going to live your mission statement in relationship to other people. What are you going to do in the world? What are some of the baby steps in the direction of your mission statement? What would stretch you a little bit? The other part of the plan is to describe how you're going to live your mission statement toward yourself. Or at least, how are you going to stay connected to your individuality self and let your talents grow even more? For both sections of the plan, the focus will be on small steps, bite-sized commitments. Sometimes a small-scale effort can grow into something bigger and better over time. This principle is illustrated in a story told by Charles Thomas Casey about a man who had a mission statement and began his application plan by some volunteer work. Eventually, it grew into a paying job that was very fulfilling for him. Let's go back to a story you started to tell earlier about how a person could use their free time or weekend activities to take steps towards their mission.
Yes, Mark. There was a man who had become frustrated at trying to use photography as a part of his life purpose and life mission. He loved it, he was good at it, but had been frustrated at trying to get into a career that involved photography. He came to one of our conferences and went home trying to use this interest in his non-work time. He found himself driving to visit his mother-in-law with his wife, with his camera along. He suggested to his wife and to the nursing home personnel that he take some pictures there. And the nurses quickly said, no, we don't want this. This is not the best time for these people to have their pictures taken. He persisted. These people loved having their pictures taken. The nurses went right along with this, put the pictures up in the hall in a display. This became a special feature in the local newspaper. This man got lots of publicity and credit, and he's now doing special stories for the local newspaper for pay. This is becoming very lucrative for him. Now, I think a key here was that he focused on this love, this interest, in a service mode, and doors opened for him.
It was sort of an incremental step-by-step thing, wasn't it? He didn't just jump right into living that mission.
It really was.
You'll be using worksheet number 15 to create your application plan. The idea here is to record 2 or 3 things that you could start doing for each of the 2 sections of the plan. Don't try to write the ultimate way you would hope to be living your mission. Instead, this is the place to start recording small steps that you could start taking along that path. A plan with small steps is usually better than a plan with big ones. Overly ambitious intentions usually don't get acted upon. Let's see how one man very effectively created an application plan for himself. His first draft mission statement was to be a unifier, one who synthesizes and blends the fragments of life. To start applying that mission statement in the outside world, he thought about the community in which he was living and its needs. He decided to volunteer to be an officer at his local civic league. He had noticed that there was quite a lot of dissension recently on some hot topics for community affairs, and maybe this was a way he could be of service with his talents. It sure seemed like it would be a great expression of his mission statement. He also made a commitment to lead a study series at his church on the religions of the world. He wasn't an expert on the topic, but he was open-minded and ready to lead a weekly discussion that would express his mission statement for unifying and synthesizing. He was willing to see how diverse beliefs have points of commonality and felt that his leadership in such a study group could be very helpful to others. He made one more commitment in section 1 of his application plan, and it had to do with things at his job. It was another small step, and it didn't involve any dramatic step like trying to change jobs. Instead, he decided to try to be more of a unifier right where he was already working. He committed himself to assisting 2 fellow employees who never seemed to get along. He had hopes that his gift for synthesizing and blending would help them to find a way to unify their efforts at work. But these outward application steps were only going to be half the story. The other half concerned inward application. In his case, how to be a unifier to himself. He asked himself, what are the fragments of my own life that need to be synthesized and blended? He had been so busy for years that he had lost touch with the playful side of himself. And now it was time that he found a way to blend his identity with it occasionally. So in his application plan worksheet he wrote, set aside an hour each week to do something that's simply fun, without any judgment of its practicality. Another angle on Section 2 of the application plan is to focus on how a talent can be nurtured or developed. Teaching was listed as one of his 4 core talents, but there was still lots of room for it to develop so that he could live his mission more effectively. So he made a commitment to invest some time and money to take a training course for lecturing and teaching skills. He ended up with an ambitious but doable application plan. It was going to take him several months, maybe longer, to give it a chance. Some things would probably work well, other parts might not. But after a few months, he would probably be ready to create a new application plan and figure out the next steps that would stretch him and live the mission more fully. Let's take some time now for you to create your own application plan. You'll be using Worksheet 15 to write down some things that you're ready to start doing. Remember, make them bite-sized. Let them be things that you will actually try to do. And don't forget to do both sections of the plan. When you've finished your application plan, you can move on to Lesson 11.